Welcome to the Friendly Auto Show. I'm Susan Langheim and I'm here at ABC News Channel 20. I get the run of the place. This is so cool. And I even get to do the weather with Joe Crane. So stay tuned for a fun Friendly Auto Show right here. I'm so excited today to be with Springfield's meteorologist, Joe Crane. How are you doing?
Very good, Susan.
This is so much fun. Now we're in your home, we're your comfort level, right? Joe's been up since 2 in the morning.
Yes, I get up at 2 o'clock every weekday morning to prepare for the broadcast because we go on air at 5 o'clock, but before then we have some other things to do behind the scenes to get ready for the show. Obviously all the graphics that you see. I don't have a staff of interns like they do at Good Morning America, so everything you see with the weather forecast in terms of creating the forecast, coming up with all the graphics, that's all right on me every morning. So I have to have all that ready before we go on air at 5 o'clock.
You are busy. You just don't stand in front of the screen and point, right?
I wish it were that easy. That would be a lot of fun. But no, there's a lot of work that goes in. Obviously, the science of meteorology, studying the weather beforehand, getting an idea of how the forecast is going to shake out, and then being able to take all of that science and put it in through the technology to be able to create the graphics that make it easy to understand for the average viewer who maybe doesn't understand as much science as someone who's taken all the meteorology classes, to be able to tell them, okay, it's going to rain today or it's going to be sunny, and what the temperatures are going to be able to plan their day.
That's amazing. You started in radio. What got you interested in TV?
Well, just kind of a crazy thing how things happen in the broadcast business. I was involuntarily retired from my radio job here in Springfield about 12 years ago, and my oldest child was just starting school, and it was at the start of the school year, so we didn't want to interrupt that, and so I became a stay-at-home dad for a little bit, and then one thing led to another, and I just happened to run in a couple of people, and there was an opening here at News Channel 20, and next thing you know, I'm coming down auditioning for the weekend weather spot, and they apparently saw some glimmer of something in my audition, offered me the job, and after about a year of doing it, I said to Gus Gordon, who was the chief meteorologist at the time, I said, I really like doing this, but I'd like to learn a lot more about weather than I've just kind of picked up on my own. And he said, well, you know, there's an online program through Mississippi State University's meteorology program where you can do that for about 3 years and get a certification in broadcast meteorology. So I was able to complete that about 2008, 2009, about the time that I transitioned to full-time here on the morning show.
That is amazing. There's so much involved to become a meteorologist. How do you figure out the forecast?
Well, you've got to study a lot about the movement of the atmosphere. That's one thing about weather. It's always changing. It never stays just the same, except maybe in San Diego where it seems like it's always sunny and 75. But you just basically learn how to study the changes in the atmosphere through looking at the satellite trends, through the radar trends, also looking at the forecast models. We talk about the forecast models. Basically, that's just the science of being able to take all of the current weather data and put it into a mathematical equation that computes out the probability of certain weather patterns over a matter of time, whether 1 day, 2 days, a week out, 10 days, and so on. And then we're able to take that information and then put it into graphical form to be able to show you, okay, here's where the cold front's coming and here's where the rain's going to set up and things of that nature.
Someone watching today, Joe, a young person who may think, gosh, I really like what Joe Crane does. I would really be interested in becoming a weatherman someday. What advice do you have for that person?
Well, obviously science is a big part of what we do, so as many science classes you can take as you go through grade school and high school, and obviously get to college where there are meteorology programs offered through a variety of universities around the country. But just a love of science, that's the big thing. Unfortunately for me, one of the reasons why I got into broadcasting years ago is because I hated math when I was in school. as I found when I started taking the meteorology classes a few years back through Mississippi State University, there's a good deal of math involved, so it would help to know math a little bit better. So it's been kind of a relearning process for me on some of that aspect. But thankfully the computers can do most of the number crunching, and I don't have to really think about it that much, except maybe do an occasional conversion or something on the ratios of converting the amount of expected precipitable water and converting that to snowfall and the different ratios that come about doing that. But that's just a little behind the scenes stuff. But in addition to that, geography. It obviously helps to know when you turn to point of the weather map that that's Wyoming, or that's New Hampshire, or that's Texas, or this area is the Central Plains, or here's the Mississippi River. Things of that nature obviously help. And even though it's not necessarily related to weather, but if you want to be in broadcasting, obviously public speaking, the ability to write well. I'm surprised how much more I write now than I did just a few years ago because of the advent of the internet. We have the website, Facebook, Twitter. All of that requires writing, and you have to write well to be able to communicate your ideas, not only on television, but through the various social media platforms as well.
That's just incredible. Let's start from your morning at 2. By the time you get you get out of your house and shower and get ready, you're here about what,
3:30ish.
3:30.
Yeah.
I see all these papers and computer screens and all that. What have you done before you get here, and what do you do before you're on the air?
I get up at 2 every morning, and sometimes I usually wake up before the alarm goes off, so I'm not the kind of person that hits the snooze alarm unless I stayed up late watching a Cardinal World Series game or something like that. But generally I just get up and get going. I do some work at home. With the internet I can look at the satellite and radar images. I can look at some forecast models and kind of have an idea how the forecast is going to shake out. I may update some things for our website or Facebook before I even hop in the shower, and maybe communicate through email or text with one of the behind the scenes people here at the station before the show gets ready. And I get here about 3:30, so I pretty much have a good idea of what the weather's going to be for the given day and beyond. So at that point I can come in and basically quickly build my graphics to help tell the weather story that day, and plug in the numbers for temperatures that I think are going to be achieved and whatnot. And by about 4:15, we're ready to tape some segments before the show. We also partner with several radio stations around the area, so have to phone in and record weather forecasts for those stations to run during their respective morning shows. And then once 5 o'clock hits, it's pretty much smooth sailing, because then it's just a matter of, like you said, being able to stand at the green wall and point here and point there, unless there's an active weather day, like you happen to be on a day where there's been some stronger storms earlier this morning. So there's where I'm constantly updating the radar images a little more frequently, and making sure that I'm staying on top if there happens to be a flash flood watch or a warning issued, or maybe a thunderstorm warning pops up, that I can get on that right away to inform people how to stay safe during severe weather if that should develop.
And that leads me to the next question. What would you suggest to people watching about staying safe during severe weather? Should they have a plan?
Absolutely, because the time to plan for severe weather is not when you hear the sirens going off around town, or your weather radio goes off, or you see the weather forecaster on TV telling you to take shelter. The time to plan for severe weather is way before it happens. Have a plan with all of your family at home to know, okay, if we're at home, where do we go that's going to be the safe place? Preferably a basement under something sturdy like a table or desk. If you don't have a basement, go to the lowest level in a small room like a closet or a bathroom away from windows. Things of that nature. Also, have a plan of if you have to be sheltered down at your home for several days, or if you have to evacuate to go to another shelter if there's a weather situation or natural disaster, that you have an emergency kit very handy nearby. Ideally, you want to be able to be prepared to take care of yourself for 72 hours. That's 3 days. Making sure you have essentials like water, food, necessary items, paper products. Toilet paper, for instance, is something that's key to get through a situation like that. But just other basic things like if you're on medication, knowing, okay, if I have to go someplace very quickly, I want to make sure I can grab that medication and take it with me for myself, for my family, and maybe for your pets as well. But if you have to get out of the house, whether it's a fire or weather situation, of knowing, for instance, our kids have known since they were little that if something happened where we had to leave the house and we get separated, that we all end up on the particular neighbor's porch, and that's where that's kind of our little meetup area.
That's great. That's a super plan. Joe, let me ask you: has there been one particular weather experience that you will never forget?
Easily, for those of us that have spent any time in Springfield for the last couple of decades, I'd have to say go back to March 12th of 2006 with the tornadoes. There were 2 tornadoes that hit Springfield on a Sunday night. One hitting on the west side did considerable damage around the Walmart, around Gordman's. Remember, it took out the Lauterbach man head ended up in the middle of the floor at the barrel head and all that. Then the second tornado came here on the east side. I was on the air at the time, and if you see all these big lights in the studio, can you imagine them for about 30 seconds swinging in the breeze?
Oh, wow.
Because the building shook when the second tornado that came on the east side was only a few hundred yards from the station just to the south of us. And I'll never forget that night of being on the air, and I think we came on the air about a half hour, 45 minutes before the tornadoes with the initial warnings, and we were on the air through about 3 o'clock in the morning that I was on the air with that, and then I took a quick break to kind of freshen up because I still had a morning show to do that Monday morning. So I took a quick break for about an hour, and then we were nonstop with the aftermath coverage that Monday morning from 4 a.m. till about noon that day. So I'll never forget that. It was just devastating because at the time, Springfield had not had a tornado in the city limits for a long time, and people had this kind of, it'll never happen in Springfield. It always just happens around the area, but never in Springfield because the lake helps divert tornadoes and things like that. But obviously since then we've had some other minor tornadoes within the vicinity of Springfield. So the old myths about the lake protects us or these other things that people always considered to be keeping tornadoes away from Springfield aren't necessarily true. That a tornado can happen anytime, anywhere. All 50 states have seen a tornado at one time or another. Even places like Maine where you don't think about tornadoes. We can have tornadoes outside of the typical severe weather season in the spring. We've had tornadoes a few years back in Petersburg on New Year's Eve one year. So they can even happen in December.
Anytime, any place, that's right.
So it's always, well, you want to have that plan and be prepared to execute that plan if you have to.
Do you take, sometimes you hear that people get mad at the weatherman. Darn it, look at all the days you're right.
Yeah.
But once in a while...
As if I have some control over the weather, yes.
How come they get mad at you?
Well, I've always wondered that too, because if the forecast is not right, and occasionally we'll miss the forecast. If I'm going to miss, I always prefer to miss on the positive side. If I say it's going to rain today and then it ends up being sunny and 75, that's okay to miss. Right. It's the days that I say, hey, it's going to be sunny and 75, and then end up getting a stray thunderstorm to pop up, and people get upset about that because they had plans maybe for a round of golf, their kid's little league game, or a picnic, or whatever the case may be. So people tend to get more mad about that when their plans get ruined, as opposed to, hey, it didn't rain. So,
right.
But yeah, it happens every now and then. But I always tell people, I said, you don't get mad at the newscasters when it's election night and your candidate doesn't win. You don't get mad at the sports team when your team doesn't win on a Friday night. But somehow the weather people are expected to be able to just, with a wave of a wand or something, magically change the weather.
You have more powers than you even know, right?
I wish. I wish.
Okay, I see the green screen over there.
Oh, yes.
Will you show me a little bit about it and tell me what you do over there?
I think we can do that. Why don't we head on over?
Okay, let's go, Jim.
Okay.
Okay, Joe, we're at the weather wall now.
Yes, and I'm glad I forgot to tell you before you came not to wear anything green, and I'm glad you didn't, because you notice behind me,
yes,
this is an entirely green wall, and if you wear anything that's close to that shade, you basically just become a floating head and a pair of arms in front of the screen, because the magic of this is that the computer behind the scenes takes all of the graphics that we show on TV and cancels out the green behind us, so it superimposes the weather graphics onto the screen, and so the viewers at home looks like we have a map behind us. So we create the illusion that when we turn that we're looking at something, but we're really not. We're looking off to either the monitor over here or one off to the other side here. Plus we can also look straight ahead at the camera and we see ourselves, instead of the teleprompter, we see what's on camera.
I see.
But notice when you look straight ahead, you're thinking, okay, it looks like I'm looking in a mirror.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
But you're not. Now
point up.
But look straight at the camera and
Okay.
point to the right. Without thinking,
right.
okay, you didn't have to think about that too much. Some people, when they look at the camera and start pointing to the right, they think, oh no, I need to move the other arm, because see, they're seeing, it's a mirror reverse image there.
Right. Now, if you said look for Springfield, I might have gone that way. But when you said to the right, okay, I can remember that. Right hand, right.
Yeah.
There's Springfield.
Springfield, right.
Right
Exactly,
there.
exactly.
And then I look over here. Oh boy.
Yeah, and you move around. There's a lot of activity going on. I even brought you your own clicker.
Oh my gosh, this might be scary. Okay, what do I do with this?
Well, there are a couple of buttons on here. I'm really not for sure what they do. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody thinks it's just one button, but there are multiple buttons.
Yes.
And when you're on the air, you can't constantly look at the clicker. You kind of just have to, after a while, just kind of get the little feel with your finger of the right one to press. But generally, you want to always hit the one that's the green arrow going forward, because it's able to advance. As you look straight at the camera, we can advance from the radar image.
Oh, yeah.
There's the temperatures. We can go next to the next graphic. That would be the wind speeds.
Wow.
And then the wind gust. It's a little gusty out there, 36 mile per hour gust right now.
Oh, this is right now.
This
We're
is
doing
right
this.
now.
Oh,
We're seeing
okay,
the
good.
real-time data. There's the dew points, which is reflective of the humidity. And you get dew points here right around 60, 65 degrees. It's very humid outside
It is.
today. So, and we keep going forward with the other graphics. You can see the forecast model. Remember, I talked to you about taking all the current data from weather from around the country, compressing it into a mathematical equation. You come out with the predictive aspects of what the weather should do based on the science of meteorology. Well, we're able to take that data and put it in the forecast model, and you see here we get in the afternoon, cloudy skies, but then the cold front comes through and you start to see some rain late in the day. So I'm going to step outside, outside the camera here, leave you right by yourself. So have at it. Tell us the weather.
Okay, you're going to need your raincoat a little bit later this afternoon. If you live in Springfield, is that wrong? Or
You
Lincoln?
pointed at, yeah, Lincoln.
Oh,
so.
but I should not have that in my pointy hand,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Okay, so where are we? There's
There you-
Lincoln,
yeah.
little rain coming there, Springfield, Decatur. What about Jacksonville? Now, which hand do I do?
And you can move to either side.
Oh,
you
you
don't have
can
to
move-
stand,
okay,
yeah.
over
And then,
here,
and then you can
Jacksonville.
point over to the eastern part of the state.
Okay, don't
change
forget the
hands,
eastern.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
we
you
don't
see
wanna
changed
forget.
hands very well
Yes.
there. That's good. Almost, you're a natural at it. So then it clears out,
Oh,
and
it
then
clears.
and
Okay.
then you kind of step off to the side so everybody can
This
see the
way?
rainfall
oh, yeah,
totals.
I don't
see?
want to be in the middle of it.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. So
Okay, so the rainfall, 1.05 in Springfield,
so
Decatur,
about an
a little
inch.
more.
Yeah.
An inch and
So about an
quarter.
inch and a half here for the next day or so. And then it goes into the rest of the way out, and then pretty much quiet weather, and then the high pressure builds in for the weekend for some cooler temperatures. And then after that, you can click to the forecast and then eventually onto the 7-day forecast.
Wow, where's the 7 day? How do
There's,
I click to
there's
that?
the 7-day forecast right there for you.
Well, that looks
Yeah.
great. That's great.
So
God,
see?
I would absolutely need the teleprompter. I would need another one over there telling me what to say, because hey folks, there's a lot to this.
Yes,
Joe.
there is. You got to remember which button to click,
Yeah.
and if you go too fast, you can always go backwards. There's a backwards button.
Okay.
So things like that. But
And what's that one for?
that's another. That goes all the way back to the start.
Oh.
So if you want to start all over again, you can just go all the way back.
No, I don't think I can handle that. I need to go forward.
But you know, for the first time, having never stood in front of a green wall, I'm guessing you did pretty good.
Good,
You,
good.
you looked like you were confident at it.
Yes,
So.
yeah, very confident, Joe. No, not. But this was really fun, though. I mean, it's amazing everything that goes into your day. You just don't come popping into work
And
looking
point at the blank wall.
Right.
So
I got to ask you another question.
Yeah.
Do you lay your clothes out at night or in the early morning?
most of the time,
Right.
most of the time, because at 2:30 in the morning when you're getting dressed in the dark, it's usually easier to have everything laid out ahead of time. That way everything matches right.
That's right, because you always look so nice. So I
Thank
was
you.
wondering, I thought you must have a little system to.
I have a wife and daughter that are both very fashion conscious, so they basically, when we go shopping for dress clothes a couple of times a year, they basically say, okay, this shirt and this tie, don't deviate. So
Good.
I follow that advice. I listen to the women in my life, and
That-
I found that does be pretty good.
That does. Great. Thanks so much, Joe Crane, for being on the Friendly Auto Show,
No problem.
showing me around your home here and letting me do the weather.
Oh,
That's exciting.
Glad you had a good time.
Thanks, Joe.
All right.
The trade-up event is happening now at Friendly Chevrolet. Trade in your Hyundai, Kia, Ford, Nissan, Jeep, or whatever you're driving for a new Chevy. And Friendly Chevrolet guarantees you the most for your trade-in, or they will give you $1,000. The trade-up event happening all month at Friendly Chevrolet. The best quality, the best price, and the best selection in Central Illinois. Friendly Chevrolet, home of the free lifetime warranty in Prairie Crossing, Springfield.
It's my pleasure to have Jennifer, the Executive Director of Girls on the Run, with me today. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, thanks for having us on your show.
It's so great to see you, and I really love the program that you represent. Tell the viewers a little bit about Girls on the Run.
Well, Girls on the Run is an after-school program, and we operate here in Springfield, Sangamon County, and then also our surrounding counties. And the program is all about the girls having fun, learning confidence, being physically active, and then all the great things that come from being physically active, their confidence, setting goals, and things like that.
How many girls do you have participating in the program?
This spring we have almost 700 girls in our spring season. We expect to serve about 1,200 girls overall this year. And then we also have about another 400 to 500 volunteers that work with our girls as coaches and volunteer at our events.
That's fabulous. As you mentioned, it helps these young ladies with confidence. Tell me how you have seen that come about with your program.
Yeah, it's just really unique to see these girls start out at the beginning of their season. They meet for 10 weeks, twice a week, and they're going to run a 5K at the end of this. And most of them are in 3rd through 5th grade. And so that's a pretty big goal for a girl that age.
It is.
And they work towards that goal every lesson, and then they complete their 5K at the end of the season. And so they really get a sense of confidence, accomplishment, and that can carry over to their whole life.
Absolutely. Let's talk about someone maybe watching and think, well, wow, this would be great for my daughter. How do they get involved, Jennifer?
Well, we have 2 seasons every year. Everything we do twice a year in the spring and the fall. So we're midway through our spring season, and we'll register girls in August for the fall session. They can check it out on our website, see what our school partners are, where our locations are. They can also get involved with our 5K. It's coming up May 16th. It is for the girls in our program to complete their goal, but it's open to the community, and a lot of different people come out, and it's just a really fun time to be around the girls. It's such a celebration.
What I love about your organization, you're not looking for sprinters or anything. It's for everyone. So if some little girl was watching, it's open to all levels of physical activity.
Absolutely. We say the girls can walk, run, skip, hop, jump across the finish line. It's just about moving forward and kind of instilling them at that early age that what physical activity does for them, how it makes them feel. And yes, we're not trying to create the next Olympic sprinter, but yeah, just showing them what they can do and all abilities can definitely complete our 5K.
On May 16th, it's a 5K. Tell me where it's located and how does somebody, I guess the girls in the program know about it, but someone else that thinks, oh, maybe I'd just like to go try this 5K or watch, where is it and what can they do?
We have a great partner, Lincoln Land Community College has been hosting us. They can go on our website, GOTR, centralillinois.org, and they can register. And right now we have early bird registration, so there's a $5 discount. And again, it's for all ages, men, women, all abilities.
That's fabulous. And back to the girls in their program, is there a fee for that? And if someone is not able to afford the fee, what can be done?
Yes, we do have a program fee for each of the sessions, but it's part of our mission that we don't want to turn anyone away. So we do have scholarships and financial assistance on a sliding scale based on the needs of the family, and so we make sure that all girls that want to participate can get enrolled.
And can they participate in all 3 years, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade?
Absolutely. We have a lot of girls who repeat the program. They have a good time. It's a safe place to talk about some of the issues that they're dealing with at this age, gossiping, bullying, how to be a good friend, how to choose your friends. They also do a community service project together. So they just have a really fun time together, and they see that it's a safe space, and they come back season after season.
It sounds wonderful, Jennifer. Thank you for all you do, and congratulations to all the girls, and it's an absolute wonderful organization.
Great,
Thank you. We're back at Friendly Chevrolet in the service department, and we can surely tell it's the service department with all the noise, right?
It's morning and we're busy.
It's morning
Yes,
and
ma'am.
we're busy. I'm here with Don Lord and car coach Ryan, and it's becoming kind of vacation time around.
It is vacation time, which brings us back to towing season.
Yes.
You got your campers, you got your boats, and if you've been watching Channel 20, we got plenty of rain to go along with springtime,
That's right.
which brings us to maintenance on your vehicle. Tires are very important. You know, you got through the winter, but you need good tread in the water, or you're going to hydroplane and lose control of your vehicle. We do have specials going on right now, up to $100 off on a set of tires. So that's good. You need to keep your oil change, get ready for your trip. And something that a lot of people don't really think about is brake fluid.
Ah, yes.
You do get moisture in your brake fluid, and factory recommends flushing it every 45,000 miles. And it's one of those things that you really don't think about, but it will decrease your braking system. So if you're towing, good idea to get that done. Our friendly car coach here has some other tips for you. He's a tower himself, so he knows
I
a lot more
know.
than I do.
Another thing on the brake fluid, you know, they recommend the 45,000 miles, and kind of getting the time-wise too. You know, 3 to 5 years, because I mean, brake fluid is going to absorb moisture. It's just what it does, and that moisture gets in the system, could corrode. So you might not, just because you got a vehicle that has 15,000 miles, because all you do is use it for towing, but it's 5 years old, you want to get that stuff flushed out, get some
Okay.
fresh fluid in there, get the brakes checked out, make sure they're able to withstand the heat that's going to happen with towing those vehicles. And like I said, always push the transmission fluids. Very important to keep it clean. I mean, the fluid breaks down with heat. Towing creates heat, so we need to take care of the fluids in the transmission, transfer case, and differentials. And he was talking about the tires, and nitrogen is a very, very good thing in my opinion. I use it in my vehicles. I also use it in my trailer tires as well. We can't deal with trailers here, but I mean, if the customer wants to bring their tires in, we can put nitrogen in the trailer tires. That'll keep the temperature changes, keep the pressure from going up and down as the tire gets hot. It's just normal stuff that we need to get checked out. You need to get your vehicles checked out and inspected. And this is about the time to start doing it, because you don't want to wait till the last minute. Then you bring it in a couple days before you leave, and you find out you do have problems. And now we're in a push to try to get it done so the customer can get out of here and get on their trip. So,
Well, it's important, like you said. Could someone watching say, yeah, oh, this all sounds like confusing. Can they just come in and bring their vehicle in and, as you said, inspect it and then make suggestions for them?
Oh, absolutely. And of course, whenever we do an oil change out here anyway, you know, we do the multi-point inspection, so we're looking at those tires, we're looking at those brakes, we're checking all your fluids. So if you come out just for your normal oil change maintenance that we do here, the oil and rotate's $39.95. You get the multi-point inspection. If you need the wiper blades, tires, anything, we're going to let you know before you take that trip. So it's a good idea.
Good, good. Any good trips coming up for you, car coach?
always got trips all summer long until school starts.
That's great. Well, thanks so much, guys. Thanks for joining me on the Friendly Auto Show at ABC News Channel 20, and a big thanks to Joe Crane. You have job security, Joe. I couldn't do this in a million years. So thanks so much for being on the Auto Show. And remember, Girls on the Run, May 16th, the 5K. Thanks for watching.